Good evening, my darlings. Welcome back to the Manor. We all know dread of a family reunion, the forced smiles, the awkward small talk, the passive-aggressive comments about your career choices. Crossbow bolts flying through the window. Wait, is that just at my house? Tonight on Miss Macobb's Horror Hour, we are RSVP to the deadliest dinner party in cinema history. Adam Wingard's modern classic, You're Next. Now, you might remember this film as just another home invasion movie. But wait, you would be dead wrong. This is a film that taught us a very valuable lesson. If you're going to hunt a woman for sport, you had better make sure she didn't grow up on a survivalist compound. Over the next hour, we aren't just going to watch the carnage, we're going to dissect it. We'll look at how this indie darling sat on a shelf gathering dust for years before saving the horror genre. We'll travel to the freezing cold historic mansion where it was filmed, and I'll share some behind-the-scenes secrets that are juicier than a rare steak. So lock your doors, check your windows, and sharpen your steak knives. It's time to dig in. Good evenings, my darlings. I am Miss Macobb. Welcome to the Manor, where we peel back the skin of cinema to see what truly is rotting underneath. Tonight, I have prepared a special analysis just for you. So pour yourself something warm or perhaps something red and settle in. The horror is about to begin. We appreciate your next. We have traveled back to the ancient history of 2011. Now we think about what horror looked like back then, drowning in an endless sea of gritty remakes and what the critics love to call torture porn. It was all very serious, very mean-spirited, and frankly, a little exhausting. The fun had been drained out of the genre like blood from a well. Well, you get the metaphor. Enter a filmmaking duo named Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett. They were part of a very specific, very niche movement known as Mumble-Core. That sounds like a dreadful affliction.
You really gotta just zing the ideas on in there.
That's why I watch TV these days.
That's why I mean, it's better than the shows now.
But actually, it was a style of low-budget filmmaking that focused on naturalistic, improvised dialogue, basically people just talking over each other in rooms. Wingard and Barrett had a brilliant, twisted idea. What if we took that realistic, awkward, mumbling dialogue and dropped it right into the middle of a slasher movie? And thus, the subgenre of Mumble-Gore was born. You see, the magic of You're Next isn't just the kills, it's the family dynamic before the first drop of blood is spilled. We spend time with Davidson family and they are excruciating. They bicker, they compete, they have old grudges. It feels real because the actors were improvised that tension. It makes you realize that the real horror isn't the mass killers outside, it's the dinner conversation inside. But here's a truly shocking part of the history. The Toronto International Film Festival in 2011, and the crowd went absolutely wild. There was a bidding war. Lionsgate bought it. It was poised to be the next big thing. And then nothing. Silence for 2 whole years. This masterpiece sat on a shelf. Why? Well, to tell as old as Hollywood, Lionsgate merged with another studio, Summit Entertainment. And You're Next just got lost in the corporate shuffle. Can you imagine? The filmmakers had a hit on their hands, but the world couldn't see it until August of 2013. By the time it finally hit theaters, the marketing team had to work double time. Do you remember the posters? They were everywhere. You couldn't walk past a movie theater without seeing those creepy animal masks staring at you. That brings us to the unsettling, because you can't have a home invasion without a home. And the house in You're Next isn't just a set, it's a character all of its own. Now looking at the movie, you might think that this house is some remote corner of New England tucked away in the woods. It has an old money East Coast isolation vibe, doesn't it? But in reality, we are at the heart of the Midwest. The entire movie was filmed in a historic mansion in Columbia, Missouri. And let me tell you, it was not a comfortable shoot. Filming took place in overnight shoots in roughly 20-degree weather. The I want you to picture this. You are an actor. You have to run around screaming, pretending to be terrified while freezing to death. And you have to do it all in a house full of windows. And windows are a nightmare for a horror crew. Why? Reflections. The director of photography had to light this massive dark house in a way that looked scary, but it didn't show the camera crew reflected in the glass every time someone walked by a window. It creates a sense of claustrophobia. You are constantly looking at the black void of those windows waiting for a face to appear. Let's talk about those masks. The lamb, the tiger, the fox. In most slasher movies, the masks are designed to look like monsters. Think of Jason, Voorhees, or Michael Myers, but here they are just cheap plastic novelty masks, the kind you'd buy at a party store. And isn't that infinitely scarier? It suggests that these killers don't spend weeks planning a costume, they just grab whatever was on the shelf. It strips away the supernatural element and reminds us that they're just people, violent, greedy people. They made one final mistake. They didn't count on Erin, played by the marvelous Sharni Vinson. Erin is the reason we are still talking about this movie over a decade later. In my professional opinion, the greatest final girl of the 21st century. Think about the typical horror movie victim. When the killer strikes, what do? They scream, they run upstairs when they should run out the door. They drop their keys, they wait until the last possible second to fight back. Erin does none of that. From the very moment the first arrow flies through the window, Erin switches gears. She doesn't panic, she assesses. She drops to the floor, she demands everyone move away from the windows. While the rest of the family is running around like headless chickens, she is already gathering weapons. Find out later in a brilliant little twist that she grew up on a survivalist compound. Her father was a doomsday prepper, and isn't that just a delicious irony? The thing that probably made her childhood miserable is the only thing keeping her alive tonight. She isn't the victim, she's the hunter, and watching the killers realize that they are the ones trapped in the house with her. Oh, it's deeply satisfying, but the brilliance of Your Next isn't just the survival, it's the satire. The movie is actually a dark comedy disguised as a slasher. The family is rich, entitled, and completely dysfunctional. Even while they are literally dying, they are still bickering about money and favoritism. It forces us to ask, who are the real monsters here? The men in the mask, or the brother who hires hitmen just to pay off his debts? Personally, I think the brother is worse. At least the fox mask killer is honest about his intentions. Now let's peel back the mask and look at some secrets from the set. You've seen the movie. There's one song that's probably still stuck in your head. Looking for the Magic by the Twilight Twily Band. It plays on a loop during the most tense scares. Why? Well, it wasn't just an artistic choice to be creepy. It was a practical solution in the story. The killer bumps the CD player during the initial attack, and the song gets stuck on repeat. This allowed the filmmakers to have a constant rhythmic noise that covers the sound of the footsteps. And fighting, it turns a catchy pop song into a soundtrack of dread. And speaking of dread, let's talk about the kitchen appliances. We cannot discuss Your Next without mentioning the blender scene. You know the one, it's brutal, it's visceral, and it's almost entirely practical effects. In an age where every drop of blood is CGI, director Adam Wingard insisted on using practical gore. That blender kill, that was a dummy head filled with blood bags and tubes. Rigged to spray at the exact right moment. It's messy, it's gross, and it looks fantastic. And here is a fun little Easter egg for your hardcore fans. The director Adam Wingard and the writer Simon Barrett didn't just stay behind in the camera. They are actually in the movie. In the very opening scene, the two victims, that's them, the writer and the director, are the first ones to die. It's a bit of a meta joke, killing their creators before the story even begins. Jasper is trying to tell me that he thinks the boyfriend wasn't that bad. And that, my dear, is how you survive a family reunion. Your Next isn't just a slasher. It's a lesson in preparation. Always check the bed, always be polite to your guests, and always own a meat tenderizer. If you survive this deep dive, please smash that subscribe button like it's a villain in a window trap. Ring the bell for Mortimer might just ring it for you. And trust me, you don't want that. Tell me in the comments below which animal mask would you choose? The lamb, the tiger, or the fox? I'm partial to the fox. Myself, smart, cunning, plenty of teeth. Until next time, pleasant nightmares.